My fellow prophecy student, greetings. The choice between Sabbath and Sunday observance is commonly believed by most Sabbath keepers to be a major factor in the fulfillment of end-time predictions. In their forecast of end-of-the-world events across the different prophecies in the books of Daniel and Revelation, they assert that a Sunday decree will be issued, and as a consequence, Sabbath keepers will be victimized. This position seems quite reasonable, especially in light of the fact that all end-time prophecies that speak of the activities of the Antichrist are essentially about worship. If it can be established from the scriptures that the issue of worship will play a dominant role in the last days, then that would be a solid basis for at least examining the possibility of it having anything to do with the Sabbath Sunday issue. The one prophecy that stands out for me on the worship issue is found in 2 Thessalonians 2. In this epistle, the Apostle Paul declares the following: "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showeth himself that he is God." 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 3 and 4. This particular text is actually drawing from the works of the prophet Daniel in his description of the king of the north. According to Daniel, he shall exalt himself above every god, and shall have no regard for any god. Daniel 11, verses 36 to 39. Both Daniel and Paul seem to be in perfect agreement on the idea that this end-time enemy of Christ will set up an evil religious system that will involve the whole world. This observation is clearly reinforced in Revelation 13, where it is prophesied that all that dwell on the earth shall worship the beast whose names are not written in the book of life. Revelation 13 and verse 18. For those who are keen observers of the prophecies relating to the end of the world, it seems quite clear in the scriptures that the man of sin, the king of the north, and the beast are one and the same individual. They are all represented as attempting to usurp the place of God and exercising great influence over the inhabitants of the world. Apart from the obvious implication of last-day events on the Sabbath Sunday religious arrangement, there is another implication that is almost unheard of among the leading prophecy experts. From the end-time predictions of 2 Thessalonians 2, the Antichrist will not only exalt himself above the God of heaven, but he will consider himself worthy of adoration above every other gods. Thus he will forbid homage to anything that is worshipped beside himself. In that case, the pagans will also be within his crosshairs and will therefore not be excluded from among the offenders in their conscientious practice of their religion. Pagans are just as entitled to their religious views as any other religion, but from what we have read in the scriptures, they will be integrated into a new brand of religion created by the man of sin. Thus the Hindu, the Buddhist, and all other non-Christian religionists who worship different gods from the one the Bible speaks of will eventually lose their identity. In the existing religious order, Christians either worship on Sabbaths or on Sundays. These are the two major days of worship in the world today. If the Antichrist activities involve his exaltation above the God of heaven, it means that it will not be business as usual for those who regard Jehovah as the only object of worship, whether they be Sabbath or Sunday keepers. In our contemplation of end-of-the-world events, it is difficult for the unbiased mind to read a prophecy like the one quoted earlier from the epistle of the Apostle Paul and believe that it is going to be isolated from the present Sabbath Sunday worship scheme. While it might be a justifiable suggestion that end-time issues will be more than about a day of worship, we cannot deny the centrality of the worship issue. In fact, both the Sabbath and Sunday keepers alike will tell you that their observance is more than about a day of worship, but rather about the God they worship. Yet, the longest weekly worship session in the Christian religion is devoted to the first and seventh day of the week. Therefore, if the Antichrist is to use his strong-arm authority to coerce Christians to accept a new religious tradition, it must affect either one or both days of worship, one way or the other. In a future video, I will attempt to show how this will be accomplished. For further end-time studies of the prophecies of Daniel and Revelation on the subject of the Antichrist, download my End-Time Prophecy free book at www.prophecyecourse.com. In the meantime, endeavor to be the best prophecy student you can be. Thanks for watching.